title of this week's CQM Forecast alert is Final Forecast of 2021 Q2 GDP by CQM and PCA. These are economic indicators updated in this week's CQM. Economic growth has been revised down slightly on both the expenditure and income sides. After all, CQM's final forecast of 2021 Q2 GDP is 6% to 7%. PCA has a final forecast of 2021 Q2 GDP of 6.4%, which is close to the average economic growth rate from both the expenditure and income sides of CQM. Comparing the growth rate of real aggregated indexes with the growth rate of real GDP, we can see that CQM forecasts net export to be fairly small in 2021 Q2. This may be reflected in the difference in GDP growth rate between BEA and CQM due to the June imports and exports. BEA assumed these figures, while CQM forecasted them by ARIMA. As for the final forecast of inflation in 2021 Q2, inflation, which began to rise earlier this year, seems to have exceeded 6%. In calculating Advance 2021 Q2 GDP, BEA assumes some major June economic indicators figures based on inside information, while CQM forecasts them by ARIMA. Conclusions from this week's US CQM forecast alert. First, the final forecast of real GDP growth rate in 2021 Q2 by CQM and PCA is 6% to 7%. Second, final forecast of inflation in 2021 Q2 by CQM is over 6%. Third, the biggest uncertainty in this forecast is June imports and exports. This slide contains additional information about this week's detailed US CQM forecast, the original developer of CQM and CQM theory papers.